All right, everybody, here we go. Here's this week's writing assignment. Now, I'd like you to get some paper and a pen, and I'd like you to write along with the video. I do not have these instructions posted in text on the website specifically so that you will write along with me in a way that we could do it if we were in the classroom. The only thing that's missing is our ability to talk to each other, but that's what the inbox is for if you have questions, okay? So let's keep this as real time as we can, all right? I want you to pause the video when you need to stop and write and brainstorm and follow the instructions, and then start again when you're ready to go, and just use this as your resource for writing your I almost said it wrong. I almost said gazelle. Your guzzle. Got it. Okay, let's go. Here's your prompt. You're going to write a guzzle inspired by a pop culture couple from a movie or from TV. I want you to write an original guzzle poem, 5 to 12 couplets, inspired by a famous couple with an unsatisfied romantic attachment from movies or TV. I'm going to give you some examples, or if you have something better that you really want to explore, go for it. By something better, I mean a different couple from a different movie or TV that's not on the list. I'm just giving you a list so you have some ideas of what I mean. Okay. Follow the traditional rules of the form that we covered in the lesson video, and then I'm going to review them here too. So you don't have to pop back and forth between that video and this one. I'm going to give you the rules again. And then use your couple's story as inspiration for your work. Your guzzle should evoke a sense of longing or melancholy. Okay. Now remember, when guzzles are written in English, sometimes the rules get broken. So if you've got some humor or some irony or some sarcasm or something that wants to sneak in, don't stamp that out. Don't land super hard on the melancholy if that's just not what's natural for what you're writing, okay? So just as long as you understand that the goal is melancholy in this poem, but if you've got something sneaking through, that may be that little rule breaker in you that needs to, do that for this one. It's okay. The one rule I don't want you to break is the using the same word at the end of the second line all the way throughout. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go through the instructions. Okay. Now, something I want you to remember before you even start. This is really important. A guzzle is not a straightforward narrative. So I just told you you're going to write about a famous couple from a movie or TV, but you're not going to retell their story, okay? You are not telling their story. This is not a narrative. Each couplet of your guzzle is a loosely related, self-contained vignette or image, okay? Rather than telling the story in order, each couplet of your guzzle offers a new angle, image, or moment related to the theme. Now, you've seen some examples. We read one in the lesson video. You listened it to and read a couple outside of the lesson video. You kind of probably can sense this. None of those were stories that were told to you from start to finish. They were all loose collages of vignettes and images that all kind of go together and they go together on an overall theme or idea. Your theme or idea is a couple with an unsatisfied romance from movies or TV. All right. Now, here's a rules recap for you, just real quick. Rapid fire. You need to write 5 to 12 loosely related but self-contained couplets. Remember, couplets are 2-line stanzas. Every stanza has 2 lines, and each of those lines is about the same length. All right? Each couplet could stand alone as its own poetic thought, but it connects emotionally through the subject or the theme. Melancholy tone, I've talked about this a lot. Often the hopelessness of an unsatisfied romantic attachment. The final word or words of the second line in the first couplet must be repeated at the end of every second line. We call that the refrain. Sometimes when When you look deeper into the ghazal, the idea of the refrain gets a little fuzzy depending on who you're reading. So don't get too caught up in that. Let's just keep it this way. You have to repeat the same word at the end of the second line in every stanza. In the final couplet, include your own name in some way as a self-reference. That's another one. I don't want you to skip that rule. I really want you to get yourself in there, okay? Figure it out. Figure out a way to get yourself in there. All right. You may also connect lines through rhyme before that repeated word if you want to. But as you already know, I don't see rhyme as a necessary thing here. Okay. Now, here are the steps. Again, stop the video as we go. Let's do this step by step together. All right. First, you need to choose your couple. If you don't have one in mind already, you can pick one from the provided list, or you can maybe brainstorm some based on this list. I'm sorry if this is super tiny. If you're watching this on your phone and you just cannot see this list, I apologize. I'm real sorry. I'll read it to you. Okay. See if anything jumps out at you as a good topic or reminds you of something somewhere else that you might want to write about. The big, the obvious, Ross and Rachel from Friends. The current, well, depending on when you're watching this video, because this video is going to get reused. So, depending on what year you're watching this, Belly and Conrad from The Summer I Turned Pretty, Mulder and Scully from The X-Files, Marianne and Connell from Normal People, Jim and Pam from The Office, Sam and Diane from Cheers, Buffy and Angel from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Kat and Patrick from 10 Things I Hate About You, Tony, and I don't know this one. I don't watch NCIS. Is it Ziva from NCIS? Carrie and Big from Sex and the City. Dawson and Joey from Dawson's Creek. Derek and Meredith from Grey's Anatomy. Jane and Raphael from Jane the Virgin. Rachel and Finn from Glee. And Veronica and Logan from Veronica Mars. So those are some options. Again, you don't have to stick to that list. You probably have a whole bunch that you thought of just while I read it. So find one that interests you the most. All right. Step two, gather inspiration. I want you to jot down what makes this couple's attachment unsatisfied. Why can't they be together? What moments or quotes show longing or melancholy? Specific moments from the show or the movie that you remember that show that longing or that melancholy. What's great about using a TV show or a movie is that you have the visual. You don't have to imagine the visual. You already have it because you've seen it. So now you just have to recall those moments. They're already there for you. I think that's something that really helps this prompt be a little easier. What feelings do they evoke in you? And I have a little note here. It's okay to feel negatively towards these people, especially if they're Belly and Conrad from Summer I Turned Pretty, right? Okay, so take a couple minutes, answer these questions, and then come back to the video. All right, step three, list possible repeated words or phrases. Now, one of the things that I really like is the idea of just picking a simple word and looking it up in the dictionary to see how many different meanings it has. Like maybe in step two, a word came up or an image came up or a scene from the TV show or the movie came up and there's something in there that's just a simple word. And a word that came to mind, you think of romantic attachments, the word bed. I was like, how many different meanings does the word bed actually have? And I looked it up in the dictionary, and the one I used had 8 different meanings. That's 8 stanzas right there. You could use one meaning per stanza and figure out how to make that work. Okay, so make a list here of possible repeated words. If it turns out to be a small phrase of 2 or 3 words that you're repeating, that's fine too. Whatever works for you. But consider just looking up words in the dictionary to see how many different meanings they have and start brainstorming the different ways that those meanings could be incorporated into each of your stanzas and your images. All right, step four. Now you can move on to free writing your images and vignettes for at least 10 minutes. And I give that just as a guideline, just so that you don't give up after 3 minutes. Give yourself at least 10. You probably want more. You're probably going to get rolling with this and it's going to be fun. So you can sit with it for a while. Hopefully, you have the time right now to do that. But for at least 10 minutes, jot down standalone images, scenes, lines, or even objects that evoke the couple's mood. Again, this because of the way this prompt is structured, because it's on a movie or a TV show, these are already ready made for you. You just have to remember them. Or maybe you have to go get on Netflix or Prime or wherever and find that movie or TV show to remind yourself. That's maybe a little fun part of this. So if you need to, stop the video and go do that. Think of these pieces, though, as snapshots. They're not steps in a plot. It's not first this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. It's not like that. It's like it should come to you and it should be rendered in the poem like memories come to us, like not always in chronological order, or like thoughts come to us. They're not always linear. And that's the cool thing about this poem form, the ghazal being a non-Western poem form. In Western ways of thinking, we're very linear. We're very like start at the beginning, go through the middle, get to the end. That's how we look at things from a Western frame of mind. But when we're outside of that, we can gather thoughts from all over and we can put them all next to each other and they don't have to be in order and they leave an impression and they give us a feeling. And that's what a ghazal is supposed to do. That's why the structure works so well. Okay? Each one of your pieces, your vignettes, which will turn into a two-line stanza, each one can exist on its own, but they all relate back to the theme of longing. They all relate back to this romantic attachment, this unsatisfactory romantic attachment of the two characters that you're writing about. Again, take a break if you need to, and then come back. Step 5. Now we're getting into the nitty-gritty. Start to plan your couplets. Draft 5 to 12 couplets. Each one is a stanza of 2 lines, each crafted as a self-contained poetic idea, image, or vignette. The couplets don't need to appear in chronological order. In fact, I would prefer that they do not, because if you start falling into chronological order again, you're going to try to tell a story, and that's not what we're doing here, okay? Remember that. That's the big thing about this one. You're not trying to continue a plot. Each couplet should evoke a mood, image, or moment relating to the unsatisfied romance. All right, final step. Step 6, draft your poem. Write your ghazal following the structural rules. Make sure each couplet is self contained. Repeat the refrain, which is that repeated word, at the end of every second line, and try including your name or yourself in the final couplet. Hopefully, this was fun for you. I hope that you enjoyed the process of writing along with the video this week. Reach out to me via the inbox if you got stuck anywhere or if you have any questions or you're wondering something to do with any of this, and I'll be happy to chat more with you there. I look forward to seeing what you came up with.